All right, guys, I just wanted to make a quick video on servicing the Star Machines breather system, catch can, whatever you want to call it. But I'll give you a quick little insight on vacuum pumps. They add horsepower in the right situation, but they're not for everybody. One, they're an expensive option, so think about that before you put out a bunch of money for a vacuum system, especially for a Cleveland. The other thing is you got to make sure your motor's set up for it. Make sure it's going to be oil tight. Make sure that the piston pins are strong enough. And the other issue is too much vacuum pulls away oil from the pins and they start galling, so you got to think about that. It's not something you just want to bolt on. The other thing is think about complements to a vacuum system. And if you know how they work, the theory is that the engine's rotating, and as it's rotating, it's spinning the vacuum pump. And that's putting a vacuum in the crankcase underneath the pistons, pulling downward on it with vacuum, which gets contaminants from, oil, moisture, blow by, whatever. And it pulls that out, allows the rings to seal tighter as that piston's coming down. Now they say you can run 10 inches, 12 inches without any issues. So that's something to talk to your builder about or plan accordingly. But we'll talk about vacuum pumps and the advantage of those in another discussion with somebody that knows a lot more than I do. We'll take it apart. I'll show you how it works. It's got some vents up here and then ins and outs for your vacuum pump. But there's a screw up here. Pop that off. I'll tell you, this is definitely a quality product. It's made very well. And I think the company Star Vacuum Pumps was sold. Steve, I forgot his last name, who used to run it. I haven't called there in a long time, but he helped me set up the vacuum pump for a Cleveland. Because there really isn't any system for a Cleveland. But if you're interested in it, I got all the part numbers. Sometimes these just pull apart. But now, we'll have to get it with a Blake Livingston. Just a little tap on it, that's all. There you are. So there's some oil in here. I haven't cleaned this thing out in I don't know how long. It's been a while. And then inside is a series of foam, which, like I said, I haven't done this in a while, so I don't know. Oh yeah, it's like these foam rings. So you can see they have a little bit of a shape, so make sure you keep them in order. And then to try to get them out of there, I need a little bit of a advantage here. Hold tight. Definitely need these in your toolbox. This is what we use in the operating room for suturing. You kind of want to be ginger with it. The stuff probably could pull apart pretty easy. You don't want to wreck it. So I just put it upside down. Now I don't know what that center piece does. I haven't had this thing apart in a long time. But I suspect as this gets older, the sponge won't be that pliable. Next thing you know, it'll be falling apart. But now there's a little ring, like a nylon ring, and then another one after that. Let's see what this one comes out as. Damn. But it's good to have this stuff apart. See what you got. See if there's a lot of oil in there. And I'll tell you, not much. I don't know if you can see in there. But running this vacuum pump and this breather system, I've only had one problem with things sucking oil, and that's when the rings were junk. And I was told that they were good. So that thing had a ton of blow-by. And this thing did get oil in it. But after I fixed that problem, never had a bit of problem with it after that. Wipe these down. They're not even really that bad. Let's take this apart. I'll tell you, anything that Star makes is definitely well machined, well thought of. It's probably one of the most expensive systems out there, but you kind of get what you pay for. Although the other systems, I've heard great things about them too. Moroso. And that separates the bottom part that drains from here. I don't know if you can see in there. Well thought of. And then it has two different draining systems in the back here that separates it, so that's cool. And then there's still a couple more plastic washer here. And then there's another one of these. That's it. So, you know what you use on this? Some good brake clean. Make sure you're wearing your gloves. Wash this thing out. And as far as these discs go, like these, they got oil on them. What works good, if you got any lap pads, these are what they use in the operating room to soak up blood and fluids. I'm just gonna go like this to them. These catch cans, they shouldn't, and breather systems should not be filling up with oil. You got oil pouring out of here, and then you either got some issues, you might be running alcohol. They get a lot of moisture in their system, so that's not uncommon. But for a good running, naturally aspirated drag motor, shouldn't be having a lot of oil or liquid coming out of this thing. And the cap itself here, these can just be blown out with air and some brake clean. Get it all right back together, get ready for the dyno. And I'll tell you, just for people probably want to know, I've ran a Cleveland with and without a vacuum pump and never saw any bit of difference. In fact, it went faster without the vacuum pump. And this was the same system here. And with this Star system, initially I think I had 14 inches of vacuum, which I felt was way too much. And I turned it down to, I think it was at 12. It didn't make any difference at the track. I'll test it though when we dyno this. We'll test it with this vacuum pump on and off. We'll see what it does. Be interesting little comparison. All right, guys, so we got everything cleaned up. Check it out now. Now you can see right in there. Crystal clear. But it's good, like I said, it's a good idea to service this kind of stuff. This is like the breather here, which comes out through this area here. Through these foam rings, the smaller ones. Just screws right back in there. Like I say, this stuff isn't going to be strong on, man. Just nice and snug. It's not going to be falling out. Nice. And then I've already cleaned off these rings. They kind of just fit right in there. Got the plastic one. Just push it down nice and even. Take one of these. Like a little bit of a bevel. You can see it here. It's not hard to figure out. Same thing here. Put these back in. You can hear the kids at the pool while Dad's working on the breather system for the 409 so I can get this thing to the darn dyno and be done with this project. So I'd go in later. And then again, this has that conical shape. But like with any breather system, you know, they say vacuum pumps are not there for an oil problem. They'll create one if you got one. They'll show it to you. And then this you just kind of line up. It's got O-rings. Then if you just push down on it at a steady pressure, and these things should go together by hand before you go cranking them down. And And then you can feel it with your fingers. Make sure it's not all cocked when you go to tighten it down. It's perfect. It's clean. Let's give it a little cinch. All right, guys, there you go. That's how you service the Star Machine separation tank, exhaust tank they call it, breather, catch can, whatever term you want to use. I like this. It's made well. It's a quality product. Works great. It's light. And next time you're out there looking for something, recommend it. Think about Star Machine. DragBoss will be live at Unity Motorsports Garage tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8/22/2021. Stay tuned.